So we'll come back in the topic of data visualization for decision making. Let us continue in the present class with reference to the previous classes. So students, we have already discussed it, but let us recapitulate the main points once again before we go for implementations, that is using the tools for the same purpose, especially data visualization. So let us come back to the basic concepts first of all, once again, like introduction. Decision making, when we say, is a phenomena in our day-to-day life. Everyone has to perform decision. It is not an optional for the business or scientific domain. Everywhere people has to take decisions. And now decision making can be regarded as the mental process resulting in the selection of a course of action among several alternatives. As you see these lines regarding decision making, so these lines somehow tells you that what exactly this process, of course, is a mental process. And the process involved the activity that you have to select a course of action from available multiple alternatives of options. And every decision making process produces a final choice. This output can be an action or an opinion of choice. Let us discuss on this slide and make it more clear that what it is going to tell you. So, in case when we are talking about the decision making in the business and the management or business management, so the managers has to make decision time and again on the different issues in the different interval of time. They have to take decisions with available facts, and based on the facts which are somehow accepted as the actionable information, or you can say the information provided to them for making the decisions. So based on these information or based on these facts, the manager or the managerial people has to make a decision for optimization of the business process, number one. Or if something is going on, then they should have to rectify if anything is going wrong in the business. Then with the study of this phenomena, when they get some fact about the say the derailment of business process or some degradation of the process due to various reasons which are presented to them as a fact or actionable information, and the basis of these information they have to decide what to do to rectify the business process to bring it into optimum level. Okay. For example, suppose suddenly a business is facing somehow loss. In place of profit, it is facing some loss. But decision maker wanted to know that why we are facing loss. As a whole, it is being seen that the business is running well, transactions are going on. Hmm? Then they will go category wise or product wise analysis. And this analysis will be done by some other team. They will present a detailed report, which is called the actionable information. In that report, they will show there are one or two products which are being sold in a high number, in high quantity, but in place of profit, they are generating loss. They are going in negative profit. But the effort and resources of the company are being utilized for their sales. So this information once come up as a report of analysis, now it is time for the manager to make decision. Either they stop the sale of those products Either they will find out why it is not getting profit, they have to enhance the rate of the product, or whatever changes they want. On the basis of the fact, they have to decide so that further damage, further loss from the sales can be immediately stopped. So this output of analysis may be an action or opinion of choice. Here it means they will present the facts that why you are getting lost, and multiple facts they will present, out of which you may select one or two to be implemented immediately. So whichever will be implemented, that will become actionable information or simply action for change. Now let us see how it can be described in general terms. Decision making is the process of making a choice between a number of options and committing to a future course of action. Okay, now let us try to understand this particular citation with an example of a traveler, a simple layman traveler is going on journey, and suddenly at a particular road turning, when he arrives there, he saw that there is a diversion, and it is indicating the person wants to go to particular place. Suppose the place is Grol, and the both routes are showing to go to Grol, but right side it is showing that it is only 3 kilometer, and left side it is showing it is 6 kilometer. Now the question is that now this person at this turning point has to decide which path he should take. So the information being displayed on the board, on the guide board, is a difference of kilometer. Naturally, he will try to take the shortest path so that with minimum time he can reach the place. So this is one way how people making the decision making. Apart from that, if more information that person before driving to left or right wants, then he may take some local people consideration that which way will be made more safer, will be more smoother for driving. And if they say ki the longest path is very good and clear and smoother, but the shortest is having very zigzag, then they will again change their decision. They will not go with the shortest path, they will go with the 6 kilometer. So this is the case of decision making. Okay. And now from the choice, they will select a better choice, or they will select the alternative from several alternatives, the appropriate alternatives, so that the change can bring benefits. Okay. Now let's see how it can be defined. There are two things. One is decision and another is decision making. Okay, fine. And let us see that what is the word decision reflect. If we go with the lexical meaning of this word or from the dictionaries, you will get that selecting an action from available multiple or alternative action, or selecting a choice from two or more alternative choices. So this process, this phenomena is decision. When you perform this activity, that you will be selecting one choice from available multiple alternative choices, your activity is decision, first of all. Now, in further refinement, if we go, the process of examining your possibilities and option, comparing them, and choosing a course of action. Here I will add choosing the right course of action, suitable course of action, appropriate course of action. So what it means, decision making involves some kind of analysis, and they bring down some fact regarding some phenomena, some activity, or some process, or some kind of we call say the business related activities, for making decision on those processes or activities. So decision making will first of all the examine, that is called the part of analysis. And after examining, after doing the analysis, it will highlight all the possible options which has to be taken to change the existing process. And then comparing with multiple option which is highlighted after examining, after analysis, the manager has to compare multiple option and find out which one is appropriate at this point of time for the benefit of the organization to optimize the process. So selecting that optimum course of action is the decision making. Okay, hope you will be understanding it very well. Okay, let us proceed. Now, here we have a decision making process. Okay, so what it means, here we are going to describe that if decision making process is a complex activity, if the decision making process involves multiple processes, multiple activities, multiple actions, then what are these activities which involves in decision making process? That is going to be listed here. So let us first of all see that what are the decision making processes or what are the steps involved in decision making process. So as you see, the steps are available. So whenever business decisions is performed or business decision making is performed, then people cannot do in a single action. People cannot do it ad hoc basis. There is a systematically and scientific method or approaches using and utilizing these systematic approaches. Only they can come up with decision making process. Ultimately, it is 8 steps for decision making. So as you see, the first is identification of problem, the first of all. Then the second is identification of decision criteria. These two steps are quite different from each other. We will discuss in detail in coming slide. Let us take it conceptually here. So first of all, problem has to be identified that regarding which we have to make decisions. Okay. First of all, this is important. Then, okay, if the problem is identified, then decision making regarding this problem or to bring the solution to this problem will have to be carried out on the basis of what criteria? Because nobody can take its own ad hoc approach that whatever they are saying, this has to be done. No, they should have to give a proper decision making criteria. They should give a proper basis by which decision will be taken for the identified problem. Then allocating weight to criteria. And suppose the criteria is having multiple layers, like criteria 1, criteria 2, criteria n. Then the analyst and the managers has to decide which criteria will be more suitable in this situation for this problem to make decision. That is giving the weight to criteria. And then develop alternatives. That means now it is time to propose on the basis of selected criteria, propose solutions, alternatives for selecting as a choice. So they will develop multiple alternatives based on the selected criteria for the identified problem. And these alternatives will be first of all presented as a report. And now on the available alternatives given by the analyst, again it will be analyzed These alternatives will be analyzed according to context and situation under which decision has to be made. Then analyzing these alternative means finding the most suitable, most correct alternative to be selected for taking the decision in the present situation for the identified problem. Then selection of the alternative. Once it is decided that from alternatives available, 4 alternatives, the alternative on serial number 3 is appropriate for decision making, then alternative 3 will be selected. Then implement. Once the you have selected the alternative, means the manager have decided to go make changes to go to decision making process to they want to implement their decision, that is called the decision making. So this selected alternative will be implemented. That means now the alternative or suggestion will be implemented as a new decision to change the ongoing process or activity or business, to bring it at a optimum level, at a more optimized level, rectifying the damages being carried out in the existing process or mode of activity, mode of operations. Okay, so after implementing the best alternative, at least decision making is completed. But here is one more scope, that post implementation, there must be a check. They must have some check that after implementing, what is the impact, what is the effectiveness of the decision. They cannot simply satisfied with the implementation of the selected alternative. Now they have to go for a post implementation feedback, or they have to go for a post implementation review, and here they have to collect sufficient justification and present it that yes, whatever decision is taken, whatever select alternative is taken, it is foolproof, and it is bringing real optimization of the process. There is no risk of making the decision at any, there is no risk inside the decision recently made with the selected alternative. That means the decision will be working for longer time, and it will keep the process in optimum level. So this will be checked by means of evaluation of decision effectiveness, whatever decision is made. So these are the steps which has to be involved, which has to be carried out in decision making process. And now let us see the first step in detail. Step number 1. Now in a step number 1, as you know, the identifying the problem. In a simple way, or in a general terms, it looks that identifying a problem is very easy task. Or sometimes people interpret that if there a problem exists, it will be reported by the concerned stakeholders. These are the gossips going on in the organizational domain sometimes. So identifying a problem, sometimes they feel it is not a required process. It will automatically report it if there any problem existing in the system regarding which decision has to be made. But in this scientific process, as you see the citation, a problem is defined as a discrepancy between an existing and a desired state of affairs. That means you cannot simply declare a problem as a problem on ad hoc basis. There must be a scientific measurement for declaring a process or degradation of a process if it is recognized, accepted as a problem. And what is the process? The process is that if any existing activity within the business, any existing process of the business is being reported as a discrepancy in its existing form according to desired state or desired form. That means we call the malfunctioning in computers when a software is not performing the task for which it is designed, then we call it as malfunctioning. Similarly, if a business process, if it is designed for to perform a specific task, and in observation it is found that this process is not doing actually for which it has been designed or whatever is being expected from this process. So this is the discrepancy. And if such discrepancy is observed or reported in any process of the business, sub-process of the business, then this will be identified as a problem. Okay, I hope it is clear. And now see second citation. Some caution about problem identification include the following. That means whenever you are working on a decision making project or decision making task, then for identifying a problem as a problem, exactly as a problem, you must be careful about these points. Number one, make sure it is a problem and not just a symptom of a problem. What it means? It means that suppose under a business process, a printer is generating some invoices and receipts and documents. And suddenly, the printout of these documents are coming very, say, degraded printout, very hazy printout, or we can say light shaded. Then if someone take it that the process of the software has become derailed or degraded, that's why it is giving a problem in output of the document, in the printout of the document, then that is not a problem because it is the simplest symptom of the printer. The printer may be under ink or its toner is going to be over. So due to the ink and toner, this for the time being problem is aroused and looking like a problem is not a problem, but it's a time phase symptom which may be rectified with the device updation or device maintenance. Okay. Then problem identification is subjective. It is very important because if you first of all prior decide that this is a problem and I have to justify it as a problem, that means pre-adopted you, a phenomena, you have already adopted that this is a problem and now I have to simply justify, then it is wrong approach. So problem identification is subjective means you have to simply go with whatever phenomena is aroused in the business process. You go and take it subjectively and see its pros and cons and see its variation, alternative, is exact performance derailment or not, or what is happening inside this process, then decide whether it is a problem or not. But before performing all these things, you cannot do it objectively. You cannot make it objectively. Discrepancies can be found by comparing current results with some standard. That is true. Like if you say in a sales system, the sales order processing system. Normally, sales order processing system provides inquiry of the products, provides the status of stock of the product, confirms the order, and deliver the order to the concerning invoicing and warehouse departments for delivery of the product. This is the common activity involved in it. But if due to some reason, if the process of sales order processing system is doing one thing, it is not providing inquiry. It is simply asking for the order and confirming or rejecting the order and then delivering it, but not providing the inquiry of the order, like is not providing the sufficient information to the customer before receiving the order. Then discrepancy can be found. Why? Because when this process was designed, you have a blueprint, and that blueprint has saying that they must provide sufficient information as inquiry before accepting the order. It was already there and it was being happening earlier, and now suddenly it is not being happening. Then this comparison of previous functioning of the same process and present functioning of the same process based off the standard, whatever design standard is given, then it becomes a complete problem identification. This may be taken as a problem for decision making. Then that means now we have to make changes in this particular process. Here the decision making comes out. Then managers are not likely to characterize a discrepancy, likely to characterize a discrepancy as a problem if they perceive that they don't have authority, information, or other resources needed to act on it. Now, what is happening here? What is this case? Means identification of problem remain incomplete. In spite of the problem has already involved, problem is already arised, but managers, due to lackness of their vision, their authority, they cannot declare it as a problem. They can simply observe and put a observation note that something is going wrong in this process, but they will not say what is going wrong. Okay, because they don't have sufficient analytical information. At the same time, they don't have much can say much data in related and all these things. So that's why they can simply put a observation remarks. They cannot declare it as a that is we say for clear identification of a problem. They cannot say this. Anyway, we have reaching to towards the end of the time. So we will continue in the next session of this video for the remaining topics. Up to here, let us discuss some more things. Let us conclude it here up to now. And we will continue from the step 2 in the coming sessions of videos. Thank you for being with us.